Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Boy, it's the luck of the Irish if you're listening to the Incline Dodgers today, because as every Dodgers fan knows by now, the Dodgers did it. They signed Freddie Freeman, the first baseman. Freddie Freeman is officially a Los Angeles Dodger. I know everyone is just ecstatic about this move. They signed him to a 6-year, $162 million contract. Also included in that deal, a no trade clause and no opt-outs for either side. So at this point, Freeman is a Dodger for essentially the rest of his career. They added their leader at first base. I know you guys are very pumped. I've been touting this move for months now. Jake Reiner, what's going on?
I mean, this is just the best organization in all of sports. You can't compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they just show you time and time again that no matter what, they're willing to build a contender. And pretty much with how Atlanta treated Freddie Freeman, he kind of just fell into the Dodgers' lap. I mean, all indications were initially that Freeman wanted to go back to Atlanta, and they clearly wanted Matt Olson instead. And they didn't really do that good of a job in trying to keep Freeman, because I think ultimately they wanted him to walk so that they could get Matt Olson. I mean, that free agent deal, or not free agent, the extension that Matt Olson got happened so quickly after that trade. I mean, this was their plan all along. So when you got Anthopoulos out there crying that, he was all emotional about this, I don't buy it for a second, because they barely even did anything to try and keep Freddie Freeman. It's not like Freddie Freeman didn't want to come back. So that to me was weird. And then waiting all this time in order to get the news was just, we can talk about that too, but that was insane, the amount of time that we had to wait to figure out what was going on. But it was worth the wait, honestly, because the Dodgers have the best lineup in baseball.
Well, Freeman's not so innocent, but I can get into that in just a second. David Rosenthal, your takeaways from this huge splash that Andrew Friedman has done, another annual thing, getting the big name.
I honestly, we talked about it on here. I thought it was, going to be Braves all the way. I mean, I gave it a 60-40 Braves Dodgers chance last time we had this episode last week. And like Jake said, the Olsen trade happened real quick. And once that was done, I knew he was going to be a Dodger. Friedman was not going to be outbid by the Tampa Bay Rays, the Toronto Blue Jays. I think this was in the process for longer than we've known it to be in the process. But I mean, it's still shocking, honestly. I mean, you look at the lineup, and Dave Roberts doesn't even have to make a lineup card. He can literally choose names out of a hat, and it will be an excellent lineup. You have 9 or 10 guys who can hit at any position in that lineup, and it will work. It's pretty ridiculous. Muncy's going to have to shift over to second base for probably half his games, I would imagine. I would imagine Lux and Pollock are about to be a timeshare in the lineup. But it's a perfect fit. It replaces Corey Seager's left-handed bat in the lineup for half the price, and that's why Andrew Friedman is a magician. You get Freddie Freeman for 6 years, pretty much the same, if not better production than Corey Seager. He stays healthier than Corey Seager, at least historically. He's been at least a 3-WAR player since 2013. And that includes 2 5+ WAR seasons and 1 6+ WAR season. So to get that kind of a player is pretty remarkable, and pair it with the rest of the lineup, and it's a juggernaut yet again.
Before you jump in, Kevin, can I just add something about, because David touched on durability, and this is something that I was shocked to find out when I read it in the LA Times. So over the last 4 seasons, Freddie Freeman played in all but 7 of 546 regular season games that the Braves played. And again, over the last 4 seasons, and over that same time period, Seager missed 139 games. So that just goes to show you that this guy is going to be on the field. He is durable, and the Dodgers desperately need someone like that because of what we saw last year with all the injuries.
So a couple of things going back to what David was saying. Max Muncy is quoted saying his favorite position to play is second base. So that'll be an easy adjustment for him.
Definitely.
And then the Dodgers are adding, as we know, a Fountain Valley native, so a SoCal guy. The 32-year-old is a 5-time All-Star, the 2020 MVP, just won the World Series in 2021. a career WAR of 43.1 over 12 seasons already, 271 home runs belted, 295 career batting average, 384 on base, 1,700 hits. I mean, when you look at that span over the course of 12 seasons, that is the model of consistency. We were potentially talking about, unfortunately, he won't be able to do it with the Dodgers because he did it with Atlanta, but that might be the best first baseman in Dodgers history if he had been doing that in LA. Now, I don't think we'll get the same production, but hopefully pretty close over the next 6 years with Freeman, which is still a very long time.
Yeah, and you know what else is impressive is if you look at the future books of the Los Angeles Dodgers, it's just Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, arbitration guys. That's it. So even giving these contracts out, he's still maintained tons of financial flexibility for the future. You're going to have to pay guys like Walker Buehler, Will Smith, possibly Julio Urias, Bellinger. But he's left it open so he can pay those guys.
It would be really nice to win one, maybe two more titles before we have to lock up all of those guys. Like it would be really nice. And I think is definitely attainable.
This is a huge year when you want to go into that discussion. This might be JT's last year. This could be Kershaw's last year.
Well, look, I mean, Matthew Stafford.
Pollock.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford was traded from the Lions to the Rams, and in his first year won a Super Bowl. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. You pick up a guy like Freeman, you win the World Series this first year for him back to back.
Yep. Jock Peterson would be the last one up until that point.
Well, let's hope he doesn't win a back-to-back-to-back.
Yeah,
Jesus.
We'll talk about all those moves later on in this episode. What I was going to say is, the Braves actually did offer a pretty healthy deal. 5 years, $140 million is nothing to like snooze at. But you guys mentioned Matt Olson, he's a hell of a ball player. So I don't exactly fault the Braves for wanting to go that direction, but I know that there is loyalty and heart in this game, and they kind of stuffed them dirty. But then, the Tampa Bay Rays out of nowhere offering 5 years, $150 million. And when you factor in taxes, that would have been a better deal for Freeman.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to hear about these small market teams that can't pay guys. Like it's ridiculous. I mean, Javi Baez got a multi-year deal, 6-year deal with the Tigers, so like, and the Rockies just went out of their minds and paid Chris Bryant. So I don't know. That whole argument is just dumb.
So I wanted to run this by you guys, because a lot of people are going to have the same question. How do you project this Dodgers opening day lineup, assuming everyone's healthy, Max Muncy in that mix?
Okay, well, the first two are going to be Mookie and Trey Turner.
Mm-hmm.
So after that,
go Freeman.
Yeah, I think they'll plug him in right there. I think that's just a very Dave Roberts thing to do. Just get the guy like right in the heart of it. Left-handed bat is Freeman, so you're probably going to want to go with Will Smith if we're doing the lefty-righty thing.
Yeah.
So maybe Smith at the 4-hole, Muncy at the 5-hole.
Bellinger.
I guess Bellinger, and then you'd probably need a righty
JT.
after that.
JT.
Turner after Bellinger. Who else we got?
And Taylor
and Pollock.
Jesus.
I think
it's going to be Turner after Muncy and then Bellinger, and then you're going to get Taylor and Pollock at the bottom.
I don't think they bat Smith cleanup. I think the lineup might look something like Betts, Freeman, Trey, Muncy, JT, Bellinger, Smith, Pollock, Taylor.
Do you think you would put Trey Turner third behind Freeman?
Yeah, because he's been doing that most of his Dodgers tenure. He was batting third, and you get the righty lefty.
I mean, yeah, like David said, pick a name, any name, put him in any spot in the order. I mean, you could lead Chris Taylor off and bat Mookie Betts 8th. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it would work no matter what it is. But I do think they're going to go back to Mookie and Trey at the top.
Yeah. And then, all right. So with that being said, we have a question on Twitter coming from LCSW Dodger. So with the Freddie Freeman signing, This increases the likelihood of someone being the odd man out. Obviously, I think that's Gavin Lux, right?
Well,
No.
you know how we feel about that.
No, I don't. Look, they're gonna platoon. It's gonna be a carousel for Pollock and Lux, in my opinion. I think you're gonna see more of Chris Taylor than you did last year, and than you have in the past with Chris Taylor. He's kind of been a platoon guy for most of his Dodgers career. I think that changes this year. I think he's going to be an everyday guy. I think you're going to see Pollock start against lefties and sparingly righties, and I think you're going to see Lux at least to start the season get some opportunities to start against righties. They're going to rotate a ton of guys. Lux is going to play a lot, whether it's Trey Turner's off day, Max Muncy's off day. He's going to be in there, and he's hopefully. I think they can give him some reps in the outfield in spring training, get a little bit more comfortable out there, just so you can get him more at bats. But he's absolutely not the odd man out.
Yeah, it's going to be tough though for Lux because you kind of it's been a weird implementation into the roster where he was not getting regular time, and then finally when he did get an everyday spot last season, he gets hurt, and so and then when he comes back, he's battling two positions that he doesn't really know how to play the outfield, and so then again this year you're not really guaranteeing him a starting spot. So is it going to be tough to judge him again, or are we saying, all right, buddy, this is your last opportunity to really prove that you belong here?
Yep. And Dave Roberts said today he will be playing some left field and second base primarily.
I mean, I guess that I have a question. Like, do you guys think that this is sort of his last audition to remain on the team or to have a role?
Absolutely not. I mean, look, first, what I wanted to say is with the DH, you add an extra guy in that rotation. So in the past, we've seen, kind of Taylor and AJ Pollock be that extra guy who plays pretty much an everyday role just on people's off days. And that's what you're going to see from Gavin Lux this year. You adding the DH creates another role for someone to just be that guy who plays pretty much every day, but during off days. You can rotate a ton of guys. It's a carousel. That being said, for your question, absolutely not. We have no idea if Trey Turner is going to sign an extension or not. We have no idea if the Dodgers want to give Trey Turner $250 million. And if not, Gavin Lux is in line to be that shortstop next year, period.
Well, that's my point. Like, is he going to show it? Is he, you know what I mean? Like, that's the Dodgers will have reassurance if he comes out and performs like he's projected to perform, or at least how he was touted as a prospect. Then they can say, all right, we don't have to deal with Trey Turner anymore. We don't have to give him that extension because we know the heir apparent is Gavin Lux. I think this is his last opportunity to really prove to the front office that they can move on from Trey Turner if they need to.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't your question. Your question was, is this his last chance to be on the roster pretty much?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is what Jake's saying. And yeah, just to piggyback, I ultimately think if the Dodgers traded Gavin Lux for whatever reason, and then they lose Trey Turner, they're still going to be fine. The pipeline is just absolutely loaded. We got Vargas, Bush. They'll be fine if they lose both. There's a lot of healthy guys coming up, and it's just crazy how they have an all-star lineup and the number one farm system at the same time with a lot of experts module predictions.
If I'm Gavin Lux, I'm going into this season thinking I'm going to earn a spot, damn it. And they're not going to be able to ignore me. I'm going to be there. I'm going to earn this and basically secure my future with the Dodgers. That's the mindset he kind of has to have.
Yeah. All right. We should move on. This is one of many things to talk about on today's podcast, which is just loaded. Number 2. This happened right when right when the lockout ended and the offseason began once again. The Dodgers were able to work out a deal and re-sign Clayton Kershaw to a 1-year, $17 million deal. And there's some bonus incentives in there. He'll get $1 million for these milestones hit. 16 starts, he'll get $1 million, 20, 22, 24, 26 starts. So that's another $5 million potentially for Clayton Kershaw. But wow, was I wrong? He took the hometown discount. Like you guys predicted, I thought he would get a big payday, but he's selling for that 1-year deal. And at the same time, Clayton Kershaw is going to kind of have to prove it. That's his mentality entering this season. He wants to prove his elbow's healthy, and he's still a damn fine, good pitcher.
I told you. That's all I have to say.
Well,
I said it. I am pretty sure on this podcast I said the number $17 million a year.
You said
I think I said 15, 17, or 20 million max. 20 million max. And that's exactly what happened. He was not going to put the Dodgers in a precarious financial situation after being hurt last year. He's going to take it year by year. This doesn't mean this is his final year in the majors or with the Dodgers, but this was a no-brainer for everyone involved.
Did you think it was going to be a 1-year deal, or did you think it was going to be?
Yes.
Okay.
So from the Andrew Friedman side of things, he said this was his priority once the lockout ended. Get this thing done, bring back Clayton Kershaw. But I will say I was right in one area, because it actually did come down to the Dodgers and the Rangers. And what put Clayton Kershaw back into the Dodgers uniform was just the pure fact that they are in a win now. They can win a World Series they can win a World Series this upcoming year, while the Rangers can't. And retirement was not on his mind, like a lot of people speculated. It's either he's going to the Dodgers or retiring. That was never a scenario for Kershaw. So we'll see.
You were right about saying that Kershaw was not contemplating retirement and that you didn't think that he had thrown his last pitch. So kudos to you for that. But we all knew that the Rangers were involved. It wasn't like that was a secret or that was,
I'm not disputing that part. Just
right.
saying,
okay. So
I don't want to treat it until Clayton Kershaw indicates like he's actually retiring. I'm not going under any assumptions he's done, because we saw how he did last season through 122 innings, had like a 3.50 ERA. That's still top tier production, and that's not a big drop off. It seems like the standard is always way higher for Kershaw because he was throwing these sub 2 ERA seasons. So when he starts to regress a little bit, people freak out saying, oh, he's done. But I mean, look at how Madison Bumgarner is doing with the Diamondbacks. He's not anywhere near that level of disaster.
Well, it just speaks to how, amazingly dominant Kershaw's been for the length of his career. And no matter what, he's been able to adapt and has gotten better and more cerebral. And Madison Bumgarner just hasn't been able to do that. But I think that, it was definitely a priority that Andrew Friedman needed to do, not just because they want to keep Kershaw a Dodger or potentially have him retire as one, which I think they would generally like, and they've said that, but the Dodgers need pitching. Flat out, they need Kershaw. It wasn't like, a luxury or like, the Kobe contract where it was sort of like you knew he was on the way out, but you still gave him in that kind of final couple of years there. You need Kershaw to be competitive. And honestly, where we are now versus where we were at the beginning of 2021, I felt more secure then than I do right now with the pitching staff. And there's more we got to do with that, because Friedman's nice and it's great. And we needed a bat. We needed to replace Seager's bat. But I think even more importantly is that starting rotation, which right now is not very strong in terms of being able to rely on it.
Yeah, agreed. Just one thing on Kershaw, you interact with other fans, like other fans of other teams online, and it's like they act like Clayton Kershaw is some washed up, has been, nobody good anymore, just kind of throw in pitcher. And that's just so not what he is. I mean, even last year when he was all banged up, not healthy, not with a ton of velocity, he still had a 3.00 FIP, 3.17 expected ERA, a 10.65 K per 9, made 22 starts, 121 innings, and was pretty damn good for pretty much all of his starts. He had, I think, 2 or 3 clunkers in there that were bad, but this guy's still a top of the line starter, and it's baffling to me that a majority of other teams' fans don't view him that way anymore. And it's whatever the media narrative of him and his career has been probably plays into it. But the disrespect he gets even now is astonishing to me.
When
some Dodgers fans too.
When you're that great, that just what happens to you. LeBron James is another example of someone like that, where it's just, they are so good and they're undeniably good. You got to find fault with them somewhere. You've got to pick apart their game. You've got to find the one stat or the one moment.
But that's the thing. I don't think he's viewed like that by other fans. I don't think he's viewed in like the LeBron James category. And it's like they forget how dominant he was and how good he still is.
But people
because
still
of this
people still
postseason narrative.
Right, but people still go after LeBron, even if he's considered the best or the second best basketball player in the history of the game. He still gets shit for not being, for having deficiencies in something. And Kershaw, similarly, it's like, oh, he's a great regular season pitcher, but he's been awful in the postseason. Yeah, well, have you seen his postseason outings recently? At an older age, they've been even more dominant than we've ever seen before. So yeah. it's so infuriatingly ridiculous.
I'll just say the Mets fans that claim Jacob deGrom has had a better prime just don't know what they're talking about, because I see a lot of that too, these deGrom Kershaw comparisons.
Yeah, and Kershaw, I have to say,
they're the same age, by the way.
Way more durable than deGrom.
3 months apart.
Yeah,
way more durable than him.
On that note, Clayton Kershaw is expected to be ready by opening day. We can talk another time if he'll be the opening day starter, which he probably will be, but hopefully he's healthy, because he says he is and they all say he is. And I want to see Kershaw for a full season, because
he will be at Dodger Stadium.
20,
I think
27 strikeouts behind Sutton for the record.
Yeah, the Dodgers record.
Yeah.
It gives me a little comfort that opening day is like 5 or 6 days later than normal for Muncie's shoulder or elbow and Kershaw's arm. I like that we get that extra 5 days, just be like, all right, 5 more days for these guys to heal up a tiny bit more. I like that.
Yep.
So this move hasn't been official yet for some reason, but a few days ago, the Dodgers did come into an agreement with Hanser Alberto, a utility player who can play some second, third, shortstop. The 29-year-old has spent time with the Rangers, Orioles, and Royals. Last season did not have a great season. Hit 270, which is fine, but a 291 on base, 402 slugging, 2 home runs. But you got to know something about this guy. He is the absolute definition of a lefty killer. This right-handed bat for his career is hitting .333 against left-handed pitching with an .815 OPS. And his ceiling in 2019 hit .398 against lefties with a .948 OPS. I love the versatility of this guy, and he could essentially be like the replacement for Kike Hernandez with a slightly better bat against those lefties.
How is his glove? What positions can he play? All of them?
I just said second, third, and shortstop.
He's played left field and right field in his career also. 2019, he played left and he played the outfield for the Orioles too. So yeah, I mean, look, I love this signing. I absolutely love this signing. This is a guy who can play all over. He can hit lefties. And it's basically, he's a major leaguer is what he is. He belongs in the major leagues. And that is what we lacked last year. We saw too many minor leaguers getting way too many major league opportunities. And hopefully that's not what we're going to see with Hanser Alberto, because this guy's been in the major leagues since 2016. He belongs in the major leagues and he has experience. So what this signing was is you can call it whatever you want, but I call it the no more Sheldon Noisy at bats signings. Let's just get someone who's been there before, get him on the roster. He's not going to start, but he's going to be there.
Speaking of being somewhere before, that's where Sheldon Noisy is with the Oakland A's. So sayonara. Yeah, I love this move too. I think that the bench was a huge headache last year, even though the Dodgers won 106 games and blah, blah, blah. That bench was something else. And I think a lot of what people were pointing out is that Andrew Friedman basically looked at what happened in October, and you saw, Steven Souza Jr. with the season on the line. He basically said, I can't have that happen anymore. I need someone I can trust. We can't have this sort of carousel cast of characters that one is kind of worse than the next.
Yeah, it just gives them good platoon advantages. Hopefully McKinstry takes the next stride, because he was killing it before the injury. I think he's going to bounce back. So I'm so high on him. You got him as your lefty bat, Alberto as your righty bat. That is just crazy versatility right there.
Yep.
Next up, another huge question mark, which just continues to add more enigma. Trevor Bauer, placed on administrative leave once again, and it's been extended until April 16th. So that means he's going to miss a guaranteed 3 starts, I would say.
Look, two things are clear to me at this point. One is that I guess it's unclear, but I guess the clarity of it is the fact that Bauer may or may not have interviewed with MLB at this point. No reporting indicates that he has met with them. I think that was the one thing that they were waiting for in order to make their decision about Bauer and if he should be suspended, is that they were going to interview him. And the lockout kind of delayed that, obviously. But now they're delaying it even further. And I think the second thing that I think is clear to me is just the fact that, I don't know. I think this is like a ploy, like a ploy by Manfred to kind of play with Trevor Bauer because he's been so outspoken about Manfred. So this is, something's going on behind the scenes. I think Manfred wants to stick it to Bauer and kind of irritate him because Bauer's been so outspoken against him.
I 100% agree. I hate that I'm in a position to kind of defend him here because I still don't know what happened, and I don't think I'm ever going to know what happened. But I do think this is Manfred fucking with him. I do. Bill Shakin reported that there's going to be an April 4th hearing where Bauer's going to ask a judge to allow him to use cell phone records to try to clear his name. So I do think that he might have asked for this extension as well to try to clear his reputation even further. But you look at Marcell Ozuna's case. I mean, that was resolved within a month or two. He got time served, I believe, and that was handled quickly. And this has dragged on forever. Granted, there was a lockout, and the Pasadena PD took a while to not decide to not press charges against him. But I agree, Jake. I think this is Manfred toying with him a little bit. I mean, he's by far the most outspoken against Manfred. He's gone after him before. He's worn the cleats, all that stuff. But who knows? I still think he's going to pitch for the Dodgers this year.
Yeah, and then it was also unfortunate the whole Rich Eisen show tweet that basically completely twisted misquote. What Dave Roberts. It was a complete misquote. Basically saying that Dave Roberts essentially said he didn't think that Bauer was ever going to pitch for the Dodgers again, which I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what they said he said. And then you go back and listen to the interview and he didn't say anything like that at all. And I think even, the three of us were I know you were, David, at least really skeptical when we saw that tweet because we didn't see anybody else tweeting about it. We didn't see there were no other reports that that's what Roberts said. And that was kind of fishy because you'd think if Roberts did say something like that, it would have been huge news. But basically, Roberts said he didn't know about anything because they haven't, MLB hasn't done their full investigation yet. So he kind of just kicked the can and basically he's going to focus on the guys that are in camp, which is what he should be doing. And he shouldn't be worrying about Trevor Bauer, is just proceeding as if he's not going to be there. That's what he has to do. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah, and their Rich Eisen Show Twitter account apologized for it. They said a previous tweet from our account characterizing Dave Roberts not expecting Trevor Bauer soon or, quotes, if ever again has been deleted. It was an inaccurate portrayal of Roberts' comments and appearance, and we regret our error, blah, blah, blah. So basically, some people got duped, rightfully so. And so the important thing is he didn't say that. All he said is he's not with the team now, and I expect, when something changes, we'll let you know, basically.
Some other Dodgers roster news. They brought back Jimmy Nelson on a 2-year deal. He will probably not pitch this season because he is recovering from Tommy John surgery. Yency Almonte, a former Rocky minor league non-roster invite. Reyes Maranta from the San Francisco Giants. They brought him back out of the Mexican
League. I would like
a
word on that one.
Okay.
He is one of the nastiest pitchers I've ever seen in my entire life. If he can stay healthy, this is a top tier reliever. He was legitimately dominant for the Giants for at least 1 year. I believe it was 2018 or 2019. One of the nastiest frisbee sliders I've seen. This is a steal. If he can be healthy, pair him with the Dodgers pitching coaches and development staff, this is a top tier bullpen piece.
Yeah, I agree.
Get to know the name.
Great reclamation project for sure. Mike Wright from the Baltimore Orioles, they invited him to the to try out. Jake Lamb, a familiar name, was with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Back in 2017, he was an all-star and belted 30 home runs. Would love to see a rejuvenation from Lamb, but I know he's had a lot of shoulder problems. But we saw what that does to guys. Maybe he's finally healthy. They brought back Shane Green.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before you get to Shane Green, how old is Jake Lamb?
He's like 30, I think, 31.
I mean,
that's a minor league deal.
It's a non-roster invite.
Okay. I would love to see Jake Lamb on this roster. I think that a veteran bat like that, a guy that has had success before, has kind of fallen prey to injuries a bunch and has never really kind of reclaimed what that was it 2017 you said? That year that he hit 30 plus homers, like that has just never been him again. But I mean, stranger things have happened, right? I mean, Justin Turner, who knew Justin Turner was going to become Justin Turner, so I'm not saying that that's going to be the same case, but like, I agree with you guys. I think watching Jake Lamb and seeing if he can add something to this team, I'm all for it. I
mean, he had back-to-back 30 home run, 90 plus RBI seasons.
Yeah.
It's worth a non-roster invite.
Yep. Yeah, he's been struggling. He batted under 200 last season, but it doesn't hurt. Give the guy an opportunity. And then Shane Green, who was with the Dodgers for some time last season, they brought him back with another non-roster invite. So there's just a lot of guys.
I mean, it's sort of like a low risk, high reward type of thing, but I don't know what they saw in Shane Green to keep him.
Well, I think they're hoping at least one or two of these guys will accept a minor league assignment. I think last year scarred Andrew Friedman. I really do. I think he was stunned at the lack of production from what they had in the minor leagues. And I think adding these former major league, solid players, there's not that many spots on this roster to make the team. So I'm hoping that one or two of these guys will accept a minor league assignment. But here's my hot take. One of Reyes Maranta, Carson Fulmer, or Jake Lamb is going to be a factor for the big league Dodgers this season.
It's possible 2 out of 3 of them will be.
Yep.
Yeah, keyword is they're willing to accept that minor league assignment to start, because this 40-man roster is at a surplus right now.
And you can only option guys 5 times this year.
Yeah, and it
better make them count.
I never understand the rules with like some of these veterans. When you bring them up and then you send them down, they get DFA'd automatically. That always
if you're out. So how it works is you have option years. So if you reach a certain amount of MLB service, you don't really have options anymore unless you accept. I think it's in the contract, like a minor league option or something. So it's either like one or the other. It's a confusing system, but like Billy McKinney didn't have any options left last year, which is why he kind of stuck around.
So yeah, speaking of former Dodgers on the move, you guys mentioned Sheldon Noisy got claimed by the Athletics. Billy McKinney is joining the Athletics. Steven Souza Jr. is joining the Seattle Mariners, and a fan favorite in Joe Kelly is joining what is looking like a very stacked White Sox bullpen on a 2-year, $17 million deal.
I praised the White Sox last year, and they came through for me until the playoffs, and I'm sticking with my White Sox.
What a bold thing right there.
Well, they hadn't been consistently in the playoffs, so there was no guarantee there. But I called them as my World Series pick at the beginning of 2021 out of the American League.
It was a very trendy pick last year.
Yeah, and so they're going to be even better this year.
They will be even better. Right now, I think they're the AL favorites. I think their bullpen, as I just mentioned, is just crazy good. They added Kendall Graveman.
Their starting staff is kind of suspect, though.
God, what's his name? I'm blanking. Who's the guy they got from the Cubs? And he's, damn it, I gotta edit it. Yeah, a starter. Now I gotta edit this part because I blanked on his name. I'm super high on him, and I'm giving away fantasy tips right now.
Lopez?
No, that guy sucks.
Dylan Cease?
Yes. Dylan Cease is going to have a breakout season. I'm calling it right now. He showed huge stride last season. The stuff this guy has is filthy. I think Michael Kopech is going to bounce back. This was like a highly touted prospect who got derailed with injuries. And then, of course, Lucas Giolito is your front of the line starter. And then Lance Lynn, can't forget him. That guy is just solid. This White Sox team, in terms of the pitching side of things, loaded. Eloy Jimenez coming back to play a full season, assuming he doesn't hurt himself in spring training again. Loaded.
Dallas Keuchel's arm is barbecue chicken at
You
this
take him
point.
as a fifth starter any day.
For the Dodgers, I would, I guess.
I think that the AL Central is going to be a lot more competitive this season. I really do. I mean, I think not. I do. I really do. I like what the Twins have been doing, and I like what the White Sox have been doing. And, I think you may be, I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I think you're going to be surprised by the Tigers too.
Can you name 2 starting pitchers on the Twins?
On the Twins? No, I can't.
Can you name one?
Well, they just got Sonny Gray. So
there's
Sonny Gray. Yeah, I knew there was something they just got.
And
okay.
God damn it. Randy Duba?
The Uber driver. Randy Dobnak.
Randy Dobnak.
Goggles. If he's in the starting rotation, if he's your number 2,
Maeda's not going to be there.
No, they got Dylan Bundy, still a member of the Dylan Bundy bandwagon here, but that team is not doing anything. Sorry, Jake.
And the Central sucks. Have the Guardians even made a move?
No, they've thought about trading Jose Ramirez though. So
no, the Guardians will be bad,
and then the Royals are banking on Greinke.
I think the Royals are actually might finish second in that division. Yeah, I think they're actually pretty solid. They made a couple signings. They actually signed a couple people.
I'm not saying it's going to set the world on fire, but my prediction is that it will be more competitive than you're used to it being. That's all I'm saying, and I think the White Sox are going to win the division anyway. But that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that, we're going to have the Twins are going to be the surprise number 1 seed when we hit the playoffs.
Okay. I'm doing a new meeting.
All right.
Shifting gears now. Let's take a stroll around the let me do that over. Shifting gears now. Let's take a stroll around the rest of the NL West and just highlight what some of these division teams have done so far. We'll start with the Giants because they did win the division after all. I know you guys want to talk about this one. They signed Jock Peterson to a 1-year, $6 million deal.
What is it with Jock Peterson that he can't get like a multi-year deal somewhere?
Yeah, it's crazy to me too.
And I don't know. I just feel like he just keeps getting these $6-7 million 1-year deals. It doesn't make very much sense to me. I think he has a lot more value than that.
I hate the signing. It's disgusting. He looks horrible in a Giants jersey. I love Jock, but why the hell did he have to go to the Giants?
He's going home, David. He's going home.
Well,
he's from your neck. He's from your neck of the woods.
Okay, first of all, let's not call this my neck of the woods. I am from Los Angeles.
You're a voting citizen in that. You're a voting citizen in that county, aren't you?
Yeah, unfortunately. Anyway, I hate it. I mean, couldn't we have given $6 million a year? Could we not have signed him for $6 million?
Spots, let's be honest.
Matt Beatty's still on the roster.
They got to get him off so they still have like 42 spots.
Well, you're gonna move Jimmy Nelson to the 60 day. You're gonna move Dustin May to the 60 day, and maybe someone else to the 60 day. I don't know. But fair enough. Whatever, Jock. He's never going to play against us anyway. He's not going to start against Kershaw. He's not going to start against Arias. He's not going to start against Haney or Price. So good luck. Walker Buehler is going to strike him out. No problem.
I like the moves that the Giants made. They're kind of quiet under the radar type moves that, they don't really move the needle. They didn't really make any type of splash, although, Castellanos is still out there. And I'm hearing that they're interested, but also the Padres. I'm not going to bet against the Giants. I'm not going to say they're going to be terrible like we all predicted before last season because of what happened this past season. So I'm not going to say that they're going to be, top of the division again, but I think they're going to be middle of the pack.
I will say they are going to be terrible. I will shoulder that burden.
I know you
Giants,
will.
I don't care that Tatis is out for a couple months. The Padres are going to finish in second. The Giants are going to finish in third. Look how much worse the Giants got. They lost Kevin Gausman. They lost Buster Posey. They lost Chris Bryant. What have they gained? Carlos Rodon.
Alex Cobb.
Alex Cobb is not a threat. He is Anthony Descalfani 2.0. Whatever. Yawn. On offense, what have they gained? Jock Peterson to replace Buster Posey and Chris Bryant? Plus, hear me out. You're gonna bank on Belt, Crawford, Wade, Slater, all of these guys keeping up what they did last year. Give me a
they
break.
also lost
me a
Solano.
break.
They also
Yeah.
lost Solano.
Give me a break. They are done. They are barbecue chicken, finished. Hang them up.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Hang it up.
You just mentioned regression. Well, we'll talk about the next team in a second because I want to get to that. But just to conclude the Giants, they also added Matt Boyd, who's expected to return in June as well. They're going to have a lot of lefties, and we know the Dodgers historically have struggled against lefties. They got to fix that needle right away.
I think they've bought in there with Gabe Kapler, and who knows?
Give me a break, man.
Dude, the roster didn't look any much better last season.
And everybody had a career year. So either they're taking steroids or this ends now.
Okay, well, I have some other predictions, but I'll save that for later because too long on the Giants. Next up, the Padres. You want to talk about a team that's done absolutely nothing? What have the Padres done? They're a laughingstock of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Cool. They signed Nick Martinez out of Japan or Korea, who was bad anyways when he was on the Rangers. And then, yeah, you just spoiled it. But Fernando Tatis Jr. got into a motorcycle crash, broke his wrist, is going to be out for at least 3 months, could be longer. How do you play with a bad wrist? It doesn't make sense to me. His season's probably a lost cause. The shoulder issue was never resolved either. That's still lingering.
Can I just say, and again, I'll preface this. I don't obviously know Fernando Tatis Jr. personally. So, I'm sure he's a really nice guy or whatever, but what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? Get off the motorcycle. Stop effing around. You got a huge contract. You are the face of the franchise. You're supposed to be the face of baseball, but that's up for debate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's a good point, Jake.
You're supposed to be that. What are you doing? What are you doing?
A good role model.
What are you doing?
Let the kids play, as they say.
Yeah, he's playing a little bit too much.
Yeah, well, I don't
Get
It's
off
gonna
the
be my
motorcycle.
MVP pick too.
It was like when Madison Bumgarner did some stupid motorcycle ATV shit. What is that?
The Padres are going to be bad
too.
This is going to be a bad Padres team. Their goals this offseason have been trying to offload Eric Hosmer and Will Myers, and they're just getting the door thrown shut in their face.
Yeah, what did you shut the door on them for that?
They didn't address their bullpen needs at all. Mike
Melanson's
Clevenger,
gone, right?
Sorry, who?
Melanson?
Yeah, he's a Diamondback now.
That's right. Yeah, have they added anybody besides the Martinez guy?
No, I really don't think they have.
I mean, is AJ Preller awake?
They may get Castellanos.
I don't see that happening either, but
they need it. They need that. They need that.
Yeah.
And Castellanos is going to kill us this year.
What's the point now since they've lost Tatis for half the season? Like they're probably going to be my favorites to be sellers come deadline.
You know who I could see them signing if he's willing to take a short-term deal is Trevor Story.
It's not a bad idea.
Because you might want to put Tatis at DH when he comes back anyway.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Thanks.
That's too smart for AJ Preller. Let's be real.
Oh, they got Jorge Alfaro. He's actually a solid catcher, but that's it.
Is he? Isn't he the guy that would catch on one knee and Rick Monday was ripping him?
He can hit and he can run.
He's not that good. Next up, Colorado Rockies. Been more active than the Padres. They signed Jose Iglesias to be their next shortstop. They got Alex Colomé in their bullpen, Chad Kuhl as a starter. But of course, the big move is obviously signing Chris Bryant to a 7-year, $182 million contract. As a Chris Bryant fan, I love it. I think the Rockies, I love that they're actually spending money. There was so much criticism of these owners not spending any money. Now the new GM is willing to buy in on a new star and we're ripping them for doing that. I don't get it. That's kind of hypocritical to me. Chris Bryant easily could slug 40 home runs a year in Coors. He is a great third baseman. So it seems like, to me, at least in my lifetime, the Rockies always have a solid third baseman with the exception of last year.
Let me ask you this. It's a new GM this year?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Jeff Burdett or whatever.
Did not know that.
Resolved.
So that actually makes a huge difference. Because if you're a new GM in town, you're trying to rebuild this franchise. And so going after a guy like Chris Bryant, World Series, winner, champion, I don't fault them for that. I don't know who else is going to play for them.
CJ Crone, the Crone Zone.
That guy, Fountain of Youth. I actually like that move a lot more than I thought I did, because if you put it in the context of what they got rid of Nolan Arenado and they paid the Cardinals to take him and all that stuff. If that old guard is gone, then all right, fine.
This is a very lateral move for the Colorado Rockies. I mean, you lose Trevor Story, presumably. You lose Arenado the year before. You sign Bryant. Doesn't do much for you. I mean, I'm glad that they're spending, but they need a whole hell of a lot more than that. I would have started smaller and graduated up to a bigger free agent in a few years, but God bless them.
Got to bring in fans somehow. And then lastly, who will probably finish in last, the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have also really done nothing other than add Ian Kennedy, throwback to when he threw at Yasiel Puig and Zach Greinke, and Mark Melancon, as mentioned briefly. They do have a loaded farm system.
They all come back.
They do have a loaded farm system.
They all come back. They always get old. They always get the old D-backs to come back home.
Is Ned Colletti their GM?
Maybe they'll get Scherzer for his final year.
We've talked about this a lot, but
hey, you know what we could give him? David Price.
David Price. Well,
yeah.
You mentioned David Price. Speaking of him, he is in the mix for the rotation. Apparently, they spoke with him yesterday, I think it was, and he says he has a lot to prove and he's motivated to be a part of that Dodgers rotation.
Damn right, he has a lot to prove.
I mean, hey, this is his contract year. So if he wants any semblance of another contract, not that he ever needs another one, this is his year to do it. I'm rooting for him. I got nothing, I'm hoping he proves us all wrong, but I don't like the sound of that.
So I think by now we answered Ray Coyoza 82's question. What area should the Dodgers focus on now? Obviously, I think it's universally starting pitching. And I still think a blockbuster trade is coming. They cannot sit with this rotation. It does not gel well with me. There's too many question marks.
Yeah, it's like, last season we had too much pitching, too many starters. We were like, oh my God, what are we going to do with all these starters? And now we barely have any.
Well, the biggest question mark is not going to be resolved until at least April 19th. So I don't think we're going to have any clarity on the others until we get some clarity on that. So if you're expecting a trade for a starter, I wouldn't hold your breath.
As long as the Reds and Oakland A's are out there, I have high hopes. Next up, we're going to move around the league now. So I have this question prepared for you guys. Which team do you think has improved the most this offseason? And I know Jake's saying the Twins.
No. I mean, other than the Dodgers, I think it's the Blue Jays. I think they're one of the teams that did the best this offseason. Just all the moves that they made. I mean, I know you guys don't love Matt Chapman, but I think that was a solid move. And also the Mariners did a lot of good stuff too. Robbie Ray and I'm blanking on the other moves that they did, but
they picked up Suarez and Winker.
Yeah, there you go. That was it. The trade with the Reds. So my two picks would be the Blue Jays and the Mariners.
Those would definitely be my picks in the American League. In the National League, it's the New York Mets for sure. I mean, they added Scherzer. They got Trevor Williams.
And Bassett.
Chris Bassett. Starling Marte. Mark Canha. They got a lot better. I still don't think they're that good. But if their pitching staff can stay healthy, they can make a run in the playoffs. But until that happens, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, mine was the Blue Jays as well. I think having Matt Chapman as your corner now at third base is like huge defensively because they're not going to have to be as dependent on their offense. They're not going to be as dependent on his offense because they got this big guy in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You expect George Springer to have a healthy season. He was not consistent last year for them. Bo Bichette is a rising star as well, and maybe Kevin Biggio bounces back. So they got a lot of pieces. Last season, I feel like was kind of a letdown for Toronto, but now they have a full 5-man rotation, and I don't think there's any
the
room
rotation
for
looks good.
Ross Stripling. There's no room for him. Yeah, I like the Gausman move for sure. I also like what the Braves have done. The Matt Olson trade, they did Freddie dirty, but you could argue Olson might be an upgrade at this point. Dude has just been tearing it up for Oakland. He belted 36 or 39 home runs, I want to say, last season.
Yep, and he comes home. I think the Braves did a nice job. They got Eddie Rosario to come back.
Yeah.
So
Colin McHugh out of nowhere had a great season in relief. They added him to their bullpen. So they're gonna go for it. That NL East, it's gonna be a tough one. The Nationals will also not be as bad as people might speculate. They got JoJo Gray now. They signed Nelson Cruz.
I'm excited to see what they do with a full season, both of them. That's going to be fun to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and then I mentioned the Reds fire sale already, so I'll have to touch base on that. Finally, just wanted to talk some quick Dodger things. The Dodgers are making some moves in their broadcast booth. They added Jose Mota, Eric Karros, Dontrell Willis, Jessica Mendoza, and Adrian Gonzalez. And the caveat is, I guess, Oral Hershiser will not be calling road games anymore and select home games.
Yeah, so they brought in 20 more people.
I like almost all of those. I think they'll each add a little, something different than the next one, and I'm all for it. Let's try them all out, see how it goes. Yeah. I actually think Jessica Mendoza gets a lot of slack, just because the ESPN broadcast is so bad. Yeah, I think she actually knows the game pretty well. I just think she was put in a pretty unfair situation with, those terrible personalities they have at ESPN. So I'm interested to see how she does in a more, team specific role. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I'm also
represent.
I'm looking forward to Adrian Gonzalez, to hearing his perspective on a daily basis. I think he could be a really good analyst at one point, and we know. Karros has experience. He's been a color commentator on Fox for a number of their, national broadcasts. So I think they're all good additions. Jose Mota too.
Tommy Kahnle, Caleb Ferguson are expected to start the season on the IL, and it's worth noting that they've bumped back the IL to 15 days. So that kind of sucks. No more roster manipulation in that regards. Bobblehead nights, they announced a whole bunch of bobbleheads, more than I can ever recall. It includes Max Muncy, Walker Buehler, Trey Turner, Chris Taylor, Mookie Betts, Will Smith, Dustin May, Clayton Kershaw, Julio Urias, and some throwback veteran moments too.
David wants that Dustin May one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm still not, I'm still stunned that Billie Jean King got a bobblehead over Pedro Baez.
Wait,
I have not recovered from that, and I wasn't even that big of a Pedro Baez fan. I was.
Pedro Baez should not have gotten a bobblehead.
Yeah,
come on.
I feel like
he was on
joking.
The Dodgers for so long. He went out there and died for that team.
Died.
He had some.
The only thing that died was our postseason hopes.
Okay,
most of the time
look,
that he was
he was the cause of death many times. Yes, I'm not debating that. But he was a Dodger for a long time, and he put out some phenomenal efforts, put out some fires. He deserved a bobblehead over Billie Jean. Why are we giving Billie Jean King a bobblehead? Because she owns the team? What does she specifically have to do with baseball? Why are we getting a Billie Jean King bobblehead?
Well, she didn't need a bobblehead, but that doesn't make it any better that Pedro Baez deserved a bobblehead. Maybe just
more so. He deserved one more than she did. He was on the team.
Has Austin Barnes ever had a bobblehead?
No. Neither has Blake Trinan.
Well, Austin Barnes definitely should have gotten one over Billie Jean King, not Pedro Baez, though.
No, you're really going to sit here and tell me that
it goes Pedro Baez, Billie Jean King, Austin Barnes.
Get out of here.
That's how the rankings. I don't make the rules. Those are how the rankings go.
There's just no way any Dodger in the history of Dodgers deserve a bobblehead more than Billie Jean King. What does she have to do with the Dodgers? What? How are we even getting a bobblehead of her?
Well, didn't they have a Magic Johnson bobblehead?
Equally stupid, equally dumb. So if you own part of the team, we can just give you a bobblehead night. That's just how it works.
I don't know why you're so incensed about it.
Because it bothered me when it happened and I still haven't recovered. This is like a 2 or 3 year thing where I still think about it. Billie Jean King and Magic Johnson bobbleheads. Come on.
Yeah. And if Billie Jean, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show.
I don't not like you, Billie Jean King. This just doesn't have to do with you personally. You just haven't done anything for the Dodgers. Pedro Baez bled for the Dodgers.
No.
You didn't do anything except own the team. I'll go to Wimbledon. I'll get a Billie Jean King bobblehead. I'm not doing Dodger Stadium. Imagine you get tickets and you're like, oh, who's the bobblehead tonight? And you'd have to tell a little kid it's Billie Jean King. Come on. You know I'm right here.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm
Probably
absolutely
had one,
right.
but I can't remember if Yasmani Grandal had a bobblehead.
I think he did.
Really? I don't think
He was an all-star.
I feel like I remember it.
Yeah, that makes more sense than a Pedro Baez one. I'll leave it at that. Back to the Freddie Freeman stuff, because there were some cool quotes in the Dodgers media today, including one from Justin Turner saying, I've been recruiting him for the last 5 years. So you got JT pumped. You got Max Muncy saying, this team will be unbelievable this year. And then Kershaw said something along the same lines too, but he had more heart in his, saying, I think he said something like, they're doing this for a championship.
Definitely.
And
it's great. I mean, that's the one thing that a lot of people touched on with Freddie Freeman is that he's great in the clubhouse. He's a captain. He's a leader. And who wouldn't want that guy in your team?
And I think it's been a pretty quiet off-season day. Maybe March Madness is taking over, but let's go to final thoughts. Anything else you guys wanted to cover?
I mean, this has been, it's been a slow drip with these free agent signings and trades. I thought they would be coming a little bit more rapidly and a little kind of like what the trade deadline was last season, just kind of all coming at once. And I just, it's exciting. It's exciting. We get baseball back and spring training started today. The Dodgers start tomorrow, which is Friday. So, and Freddie Freeman is expected to be in uniform on Friday.
I am a little confused that Carlos Correa is still unsigned.
That's a weird one.
It is very strange.
Is it though?
Just get it done, Houston.
He wants 10 years, $350 million. He's not
getting it. He's not getting it.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody's going to pay him that.
Exactly. I think all these teams are just like, no.
Yeah. No. Good.
And I even saw a report that the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, you shouldn't buy that. You know who that was from?
Was it Hector Gomez?
No, Ben Verlander.
Oh, really?
No, Hector Gomez actually has good sources.
I feel like some of his sources are kind of made up though.
Look, it's not 100. It's not passing level, right? But it's still, it's better than Ben Verlander.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. But the point is, it's like, is this really what it's come to for him? Now he's going to be forced to take a shorter term deal with the Houston Astros because no one wanted to pay him.
Good. The bitch deserves
Surprising.
it. Wants Corey Seager money. Not getting it this year because he's a little bitch.
I mean, I could see. Is he going to take a 1-year deal and trust in Scott Boras and trust in himself to get him the offer next year?
There is an interesting twist in that, and I think I was reading that Boras would be on board. Boras would be on board with that because the agent who was representing Correa prior to the lockout would get a huge part of whatever they pay him.
Yeah.
So,
but that's one thing for Boras to be on board and another for Correa to be on board.
Yep. My final thoughts are pretty simple. Spring training starts tomorrow, Friday, against the Brewers. I believe it's Bo Burrows starting for Los Angeles. Another non-roster invite. Very curious to see who they roll out tomorrow and who gets an opportunity. Love watching spring training because you get to just see a lot of guys scrambling to fight, make that AAA roster, make the Major League roster. So it's going to be a good time. We got 3 weeks of action. You'll hear from us next week. We got a guest planned to talk about a very exciting thing that's coming out. So looking forward to that. But on that note, don't get too drunk tonight. Make sure to order a beer, wear green. Freddie Freeman is a Los Angeles Dodger. More moves are coming, I bet you. But yeah, the Dodgers are back, baby. Have a good one.